Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, black athletes, cowards or clueless. I'm bringing you this program today based on the NFL. The NFL has done something that has really irritated me, and quite frankly, they're on a roll. And it has to do with this week's announcement that the NFL is instituting a policy where players must stand and can't kneel for the national anthem. They do have the option to stay uh, in the locker room, or shall I say, use the back door. But the fact is, I do not believe that the NFL would have even attempted to institute such an asinine policy if it were not for the fact that they know that they're dealing with a bunch of cowards. And I'm talking about the 70% black athletes who play in the NFL. Sure, they've silenced a few of them on the field, but the fact of the matter is this policy is not only racist, dictatorship, but it'll never work. Now, I understand that a lot of people have weighed in, even the president, basically saying, yeah, the NFL's got these guys in line. Good for them. Well, no, that didn't happen. But the fact is, there's all kinds of stuff going on that, I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that I've been a football fan for quite some time. Though I have not watched one game in the last year, and I have not watched one 49er game since the year 2013. Why? I'm protesting. It's a one-man protest. My integrity will not allow me to watch the NFL. That is my favorite sport. When I see, not on the field, but in the corporate headquarters of teams and the league commissioner's office, racism. I can't be sitting there and jumping for joy on my favorite team when I know that there's some shenanigans going on in the front offices of these NFL teams. Now, after the news broke that the NFL had instituted this policy, it was Roger Goodell saying it was unanimous vote. Then news came out there was no vote at all. Well, excuse me. Then it said 49ers, Jed York, abstained from the voting, for which I called him a coward. He should have told the league what he thought of this deal, this new policy. Then the news came out there was no vote at all. Well, if that's the case, how did this get around? How did this get to be the rule? Now, to the credit of the owner of the New York Jets, he said he believes NFL players, I am a man. And so he said none of his players will be forced to pay the fines instituted by the NFL if they so choose to take a knee during the national anthem. And I'm saying that 50 years after the incident which caused the death or led to the death of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., we have to revisit it. We have to revisit it to remind, and I think that it's pathetic, that a black man in 2018 has to remind white people, I am a man. I am a man. I am a man. The Lorraine Motel. A man standing outside of the Lorraine Motel. I am a man. This was a result of a sanitation workers' strike. And this issue is definitely civil rights. And to say that we have to remind the NFL that we are men is unconscionable. I want to show you a picture that really brings this home. You see the tanks on one side, the rifles on the other side, what look, they're bayonets, and a line of black men walking, stating, I am a man. Well, I don't see that with the NFL players. I see cowards. Why? Because since this was instituted, they haven't said anything. Now, they should have said, Mr. Commissioner, taking away my free speech is like playing football with no feet. That's what they should have done. And they've been slow to condemn this latest action. Now, sure, I understand that the NFL is in a no-win situation. Well, the only reason why it's in a no-win situation is because they too, the NFL, are cowards. They don't have the backbone to stand up to America and say, America, this is not right. We cannot deny our employees the right to protest or refuse to stand for the national anthem. Sure, it will take a hit, but you might gain new respect from a whole lot of other people who aren't interested in the sport. But I am very troubled, and I'm troubled by the fact that though I know this policy will not fly, I'm troubled by the fact that they even tried it, to announce it. They're thinking, they'll fall in line. Well, they may fall in line, but I'm saying it will not happen because somebody is going to be smart enough to figure out where legally they don't have the leg to stand on. And I'm really troubled at the fact that there are some people who are like the president hailing the decision by the league to make people stand. That doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. And I have to throw in something. I'm disturbed by the fact that in this situation, my Golden State Warriors head coach chimed in and he put his foot in his mouth. He claims, Steve Kerr, coach of the Golden State Warriors, he claims that this was a idiotic policy, but he also claimed that the NBA is better. Where's the evidence of that? The NBA rewarded a racist $2 billion just to get out of town. Did it stop racism? Did it lower racism? Not 1 centimeter. In fact, it probably boosted. Did it boost the value of NBA teams? Yes. But the fact of the matter is the coach of the Golden State Warriors is chastising the NFL when the NBA is no better. And of course, if I may slide in just for a bit, my proposition I, June 5, don't forget to vote. Yes on I. The issue is, it's Proposition I is called relocation of professional sports teams. I wrote the measure because I didn't like the way San Francisco City Hall was taking from our neighbor. But the shenanigans, co-conspirator, the Golden State Warriors, the owners, they had 47 years of success, of being cemented in one area, and just because new owners came along, they said, hey, we want more profits. Let's go over to San Francisco. And basically said, forget you, Oakland community. We're packing up and we're going. Now, all those black people in the community where the Golden State Warriors current home is, what, we're not going to notice when the team relocates to San Francisco and leaves all of these struggling surrounding area businesses to collapse? Well, if you can do that, you're no better than what the NFL is doing by this asinine policy. But the fact that the Golden State Warriors are trying to walk out on a $40 million debt also to Oakland in the process of moving 11 miles means they are no better than the NFL. And I was outraged when Steve Kerr came out with this silly statement. We're better. Give me a break. But look at my ballot measure closely and you'll find, don't tell anybody, you'll find that there is a coming day when all professional sports in America are going to be told to back off when it comes to how it conducts itself. And it ain't going to be from some coward, and it ain't going to be from somebody who's clueless. It's going to be from somebody who has watched this subject very closely and has come up with an idea that I say will work. Now, when I say black athletes, cowards, or clueless, I understand how difficult it is. Some don't know what to do about this. But when you really look at this photograph, my goodness, that should be a really good indication of what we can do. And that is take a stand. If you have to march, you have to take a stand and let everybody know with tanks and guns how these men did it. Well, you ain't going to be standing in a line marching with tanks on one side and guns on the other. So even if you be brave, hey, this photo shows you ain't got nothing when it comes to bravery. I honestly think that we need another I am a man moment. And I think it should be done by NFL players. Now, I say this because when this incident happened, there was 1,300 striking sanitation workers who I think for 2 months said, we can't deal with this. It's unsafe and we're underpaid. And the unsafe thing was the strike started in 1968 when 2 of their sanitation workers were crushed in a truck malfunction. And 1,300 black men who worked for the sanitation department in this city, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, they had enough. And when you look at it, you see this picture is really beautiful. It's a picture of you ain't gonna treat me that way. And I honestly believe that these Memphis, Tennessee strikers changed the world. And I'm saying that we need another change. If in 2018 we have the head of the NFL telling black men, sure, it's for everyone, but we know what's going on here, to tell black men, you got to stand for the national anthem. Wait a minute. That's not what all of the civil rights era boycotts, protests, killings, lynchings, all these, the fight for civil rights has come down to. We can't be going backwards. I refuse to go backwards. And I'm saying that the NFL players who are making an awful lot more than these sanitation workers. In fact, I might go out on a limb and say that the sanitation workers didn't make in a career what a lot of these NFL players are making in one paycheck. People don't realize this, but this Memphis boycott, strike, which produced a pension plan for the sanitation workers at the time, the 1,300 who went out on strike, they never got the benefits. It led to them. I think earlier this year, some of the surviving sanitation workers received a check for $70,000. I mean, I'm sure they were happy, but $70,000 is no pension. But their hard work produced something greater for those who came after them. And their bravery to walk when you got tanks on one side. What's the tanks for? And white men with rifles and bayonets? And that don't make any sense. 1968, sure. If it was 50 years ago or 500 years ago, to be striking for better wages and safer conditions, that photograph tells an awful lot. And the NFL players who do not step up to the plate and tell the NFL what it can do with its silly policy, I say, my goodness. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and all the others died in vain. If you can't take the struggles that our forefathers, I mean, you talk about blood, sweat, and tears, literal blood, sweat, and tears. And all you have to do is say no to a paycheck when you already have $1 million in the bank. And I'm talking about most of the league. Sure, those who are coming in now don't necessarily have that, but you got to take a stand. And taking a stand against the NFL in this situation, I'm telling you, we can only expect something good to happen if people just stand up and realize, hey, wait a minute. I'm not giving away that part of my freedom. Freedom of speech is not for sale, and you cannot just take it arbitrarily. You cannot institute a law to take it. You can't do any of that. I don't care what business you have. And in America, sure, businesses have rules. And I'm all for following rules. But if some of those rules just don't jive with civil rights, I'm not following them. And I don't think that the NFL players have spoken loud enough on this situation. Now, when I heard the news, I'm not a cussing man. But when I heard the news, I sent out a tweet. And the tweet was under the commissioner's statement and I don't know the headline, and my tweet was, "Oh hell no," because this is not how you get people to come together. That's not how it works. And if the NFL doesn't know how to do it, what are you doing following the NFL lead? By, okay, master, it don't work that way, people. And in San Francisco, here's another secret. It's going to start in San Francisco to where these athletes are going to get a backbone. And I'm not giving away any details, but I'm telling you, black athletes are going to get a backbone in San Francisco. And why I know that, how I know that, well, that's between me and God. But I do assure you that God has seen enough and he will take action. I'm only thankful to God that I've been able to peek into what God has in store to help us out in the 21st century. And I will say that I am disturbed for the fact that I had declared in January that starting January 2018, it would be Black Power Month. Well, what I've experienced from the way white America has treated blacks in 2018, for the first 5 months, it's Black Powerless months. And I just have seen enough. But God has too, as I say. And what is he going to do? Well, I can't get into that. But I mean, you won't have to wait long. Because the June 5 election is coming in San Francisco. And we will be selecting a new mayor. And I claim that Proposition I is a referendum on racism in San Francisco. But I haven't given up any details. Well, on our website, goodneighborcoalition.org, you will see certain hints. But it's not really there. There are other websites that I have that spell it out more. But the fact of the matter is a change is coming to the world. And it's coming to San Francisco first. And I'm saying to you people, call me crazy, but I'm telling you, God has our back. Black San Francisco. And God is going to show where, sure, he loves all people. And he's willing to help all people. But he's going to give those who he's heard their prayers, their cries long enough. And he's going to act. And I say that it's going to be beginning in June. And you'll just have to trust me till then. But the fact of the matter is we have a long way to go. And I think the actual changing will take actually 20 years. But I'm saying that the beginning is next June 5 election. That's the beginning. And you shall watch. All the shenanigans will cease. God bless.